Over to
We are
me.
live.
Welcome to a thing called Whiskr Whispers. We're three bearded men. I'm Steve.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rick.
I'm from Australia.
I'm from Canada.
I'm from all over the place, but I currently live in the swamp known as Florida.
Swamps
Is it
are
warm?
nice.
I mean, maybe in some video games. Alternatively,
Isn't the swamp where Shrek came from, and we have to pay homage? Do you have any Shreks living nearby in your swamp of Florida?
There's definitely some ogres.
There's a very, very creative answer to that question.
Is the Florida man's default shape an ogre?
No, there is definitively no default shape for the Florida man except for stupidity, but stupidity is really a form of life and not a shape. So
we need to get a mathematician on to describe stupidity as a shape, whatever the shapes are called when you become more advanced than just shapes, as a geometric device.
But it could also be... Wait, I just had a question pop into my head about maths. If a prime number has decimals, can it become... No, it would still always be a prime number, right?
No, because a prime number is a whole number by its very definition, is it not?
Yeah, I'm with Steve on this one. I think in order to be prime, you have to be a whole number.
So is pi a prime number or not?
No. Pi is not even a real number.
No, I know, but 3 is. Okay, so once you add decimals, it is no longer a prime number. I see you learn something every day. The Canadian educational system has obviously failed me. But I digress, because I was thinking of...
Did it fail you, though, if you graduated from it?
I mean, technically, no.
I graduated from it multiple times. More times than the average person.
So it failed you and then passed you on a subsequent attempt.
I've never failed anything. The lowest grade I've ever gotten in anything was and this is one of my favorite things. The lowest grade I ever got in anything was a 67, which I don't know what that is in letter grades, in a physical education class called Stress Coping Skills. And I feel like my life...
Well, I'm going to give you some stress coping skills right here. We're 3 minutes in and we haven't really described our purpose. We are some sort of... Well,
I think we have
some sort of
described our purpose.
We are some sort of aimless bunch of bearded men who discuss things and try to apply our intellect to these topics.
Yes.
What are the topics? We don't know, because none of this is scripted. None of this is...
Steve is having surgery, so we're probably going to talk about that.
Yes, I am. I'm having 2 bits of dentine. Is it dentine? What is a tooth called when you want to be fancy? I want to be more fancy and use all fancy words. But the things that you gnash at meat with, I'm having 2 of those removed on this coming Monday. So we figured we should record the first sequence of this podcast before I am unable to speak and potentially pass away. So here's my last will and testament. Take it away. What do you want to ask me?
So what do you think are the odds that you die during this surgery?
I think there's greater odds of me perishing in the cab ride too.
Follow-up question. Why are you taking a cab?
You are not permitted to drive.
Yeah, because he can't drive home.
Oh, that's true, but can you take a cab?
I could comically try and push my vehicle home with me, because I would technically not be operating a motor vehicle under the influence of anesthesia.
And this will be what do they call it when you leave your surgery the same day that it happens?
Day surgery, day procedure.
Outpatient is the word.
Outpatient. Yes.
But, I may not be leaving. I may be taken to another location known as a morgue. It all depends on how the surgery goes.
Either way, you're leaving the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether I go to a ward.
I don't think there's going to be any awards involved.
No. Maybe
how
awards for
cunning.
like best tooth cut up. Like maybe the dentist could like take a radiographical image of it post cut up.
No, I want a sculpture to be made of all the fragments of my tooth and be arranged just so and given to me as an award at my follow-up appointment.
I once
Except I
heard,
want it to be comically large.
I don't know if this is still a thing, but in the old days, to get into dentistry school, you had to like take a little piece of wood and be able to carve like a tooth out of it, even with no woodworking experience. I was told this by somebody who went to dental school. I'd like to confirm whether they still use that test or not.
I don't know.
Rick, can you do that?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have done some woodworking and whittling and whatnot, and I'm decent, but I would not say that I'm skilled with such hobbies.
Would you
This
say
just
that
in. Dentistry is now a hobby.
No, woodworking.
this just in. Rick is unskilled with his wood.
No, not what I said either. I said I am not skilled with random wood.
Oh,
But what about sandalwood?
oh yeah.
I am also unskilled with sandals. So,
Oh.
Do you wear sandals, Rick?
No.
Why?
Do you wear thongs, as us Australians call them?
Yes.
No. I came like on the beach, and only on the beach, and even there, I'd rather just be barefoot. Like,
would you wear Birkenstocks if I sent you a pair for free?
I don't actually know what Birkenstocks are. I know the word, but I'm fairly certain that I don't have any Birks in stock.
Two states of footwear with Rick. State one is combat boot. State two is barefoot, and there is no spectrum.
You're almost correct, except that I work in restaurants now, and therefore I have to have non-slip shoes, and they don't make non-slip combat boots.
Why not? Don't the Doc Marten soles have like that all this resistance to different thingamabobs, and wouldn't that
wait? So you're saying if you were to be engaged in a combat situation and gristle and meat and fleshy things were on the ground, you would slip on it?
No, because I know how to fucking walk.
But why don't you know how to walk in a kitchen?
I do. It's still a requirement of the job to wear the proper footwear.
But couldn't you wear footwear if it looks like the proper footwear if it is not the proper footwear?
But then you drop a boiling vat of...
Because it would probably cost 3 times as much as just getting the proper fucking footwear.
How much does the proper fucking footwear cost?
Like $20 for a pair of shoes?
Seriously?
Yeah, go to fucking Walmart. There's literally a fucking aisle of restaurant shoes.
Do they sell size 15 shoes at Walmart?
You know what? You would probably have a better selection than anybody else in the store, actually. Like, that is larger than the average foot, and therefore I think you're going to run into a lot less sold out.
I'm not actually hating on Walmart here because I literally have groceries delivered from Walmart because everything is so goddamn expensive. What I'm shocked about...
What I want to know is the person delivering your shoes from Walmart wearing shoes from the Walmart restaurant food aisle section.
I don't know.
These are the things that I think about at night.
It was a nice Southeast Indian man, and it was a very awkward encounter because I had the food delivered at 7 a.m. while Meredith was still asleep. And he came up, and I was taking the bags from him and, bringing them in the house.
Were you using aggression to take the bags, or were you doing it gently?
I was being very Canadian about it. I was like, oh, thank you for every bag. But then at the end, he needed to take a fucking picture of the bags. And I had already brought some of them in. So I'm like, do you want me to bring the bags back out? And it was this awkward, Canadian standoff where he, was saying no, but
Canadian standoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I ended up bringing, most of the bags out. But the problem is there was still shit missing. They forgot Meredith's deodorant, so she smells now.
the phrase Canadian standoff just reminds me of when you're walking down the supermarket aisle and you're approaching a stranger, and there's, one of you goes left and the other one goes left. And then you end up in this sort of tango of which way am I going to go? Which way am I going to go? But no one ever just goes, shall we dance?
This
No,
is
actually,
so
that
interesting.
came up today at work in the kitchen. I'm going this way. Coworkers coming around the fridge this way, and I go right. He goes left. I go left. He goes right. Because naturally we're facing at each other, so directions are opposite. Yeah. And after like 3 times of this, I was just like, "You want to dance, motherfucker?" And everybody in the kitchen just starts laughing.
And when Rick says this, it actually could have an air of scariness. But the thing about this is that there's a sociologist named Irving Goffman who actually studied this in either the 50s or the 60s. So basically, he sent his grad students out onto the sidewalk in New York City to literally walk right at people to contrive that situation. And his goal was to determine whether they would pass to the right or pass to the left. Now,
he discovered that 17 of his students were shot fatally that day.
Hypothesis
because America.
But hold on. Steve, you live in Australia and you said left. The answer is right. You pass to the right.
No, because we drive on the left-hand side of the road.
So when you're passing someone in that standoff, do you pass people to the left?
No, because if we were to overtake somebody on a highway, we'd go to their right to overtake them.
No, but if you're meeting someone face to face, like picture it, like close your eyes and picture you in a supermarket aisle and there not being enough room for both of you having to scoot over to one side. Are you going to go to your left?
You'd both go to the right because we're preconditioned by the fact that we drive on the left-hand side of the road, that is where the empty space will be.
So you are going to the right.
But it's weird because for us, we drive on the right side of the road, and that is why we're preconditioned that if someone is coming at you, you go to the right side of the road because that is the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, like if I'm walking down an aisle of a shopping aisle, I'm always on the left-hand side of that aisle because that is the same thing as the road.
No, you need to be on the right side of the aisle.
No.
That's fucked up.
No, for him, because you drive on the left, so prototypically you would be on the left side of the sidewalk or wherever you are, just like if you were to the right, and then you pass somebody on the left, just like you would in a car, and he would pass somebody on the right, just like he would in a car.
But supermarket design appears to be predicated on the notion. I figure it's the same in Australia. You enter through fruit and veg, you hit meat in the back, then you turn left into an aisle, then right and left and right and left. So this is leading me to presume that in Canada and the US, the expensive shit is put on the left because that's what you'd be seeing since you're on the right if you're going through the supermarket the logical way. And I wonder if it's the opposite in Australia.
It's usually fruit and veg on the right, and then your meat towards the back of that. Then dairy to the left.
Dairy for us is on the other side completely at the end.
Well, there's introductory dairy such as eggs and butter and cream.
The pricey dairy, right?
Yeah, and then the cheese, which is arguably more pricey, is past beyond the yogurt.
Beyond, how we have Beyond Meat? I wonder if they have Beyond Yogurt for vegans.
You
do. It's called like coconut yogurt.
Have y'all heard? And this is maybe I'm gonna get us canceled on episode 1.
Please get us canceled, please.
Achievement unlocked.
Have y'all heard this stupid ass movement going on now with vegan mothers not wanting to breastfeed their children because it's cruelty to animals?
Are you kidding me?
Yes. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
Wait. Are you suggesting that these people were
the same terms? So
no,
I don't
know
just like any kind of depth of research behind it or how prevalent it is, but it's obviously enough that it's making the rounds.
I need to pause you for a moment and just ask a question. are they? And I'm going to wait for you to swallow that coffee before I make the statement, so it
Thank you
doesn't
for
come
not
out of
forcing
your
a spit take.
nose. But were these people? I've got far less respect for Kevin, so I'm just going to say it while he's taking a drink.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
As you should.
Do these people not breastfeed from their own bosom, but from the bosom of an animal? Do they just grab a random lactating creature and their child and cruelty to animals? This is breastfeeding.
I mean, I do believe that it is in reference to themselves, but because they're not breastfeeding off of any animal, they're feeding
Okay.
formula. But it's like,
But
straight out
formula
of
is
the room,
derived
they're
from
not even
animal products.
Yeah, you're not even trying to do breastfeed. Like, literally what it's there for, people. Like, if there's anyone out there who has any questions, literally that's what they're there for.
Are these for chicks with small tits? Because if so, like, they're pretty hot.
I
I
think
mean, again, I don't know.
The function of lactation would work in an identical manner.
But do women with small breasts produce less milk?
I don't
I
think
have
that's
no
how
idea.
it works, but having not been a lactating woman with small breasts, or for that matter, a lactating woman with large breasts at any point in my life, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well,
I can
you
say
could
for a
always
fact
have
that-
surgical interventions for scientific study, and we'd be happy to support you in this
100%.
every step of the way.
How
I'm
However,
fairly certain that there is no scientific intervention that could deliver on the lactation requisite of that. I mean,
Oh, no,
how
there's definitely
about-
the small
There
and the
definitely
large?
I have a large
I have
collection
a-
of knives. I will come to your
I'm not
home.
even gonna go that far. I'm just gonna say all you would realistically need is some water balloons and a small needle and a pitcher of milk.
Why not
It
use a
wouldn't be the
Kodak-
most scientific of studies.
Why
but-
not use a Bowie knife as homage to Rick's past?
All I'm just thinking is that we may have just been cancelled. But
I hope so.
what if? And then I thought a little bit more, and most balloons are indeed manufactured from a mixture of plant and animal products, if I'm not mistaken. So even using a balloon would be animal cruelty. I mean, every form of agriculture is animal cruelty, because in order to do agriculture, you're removing natural habitat that animals could be using.
And if you're using a balloon, it was presumably made in China. So isn't that cruelty to small Chinese children?
I don't know. It could be made in Mexico or
Small Mexican children?
Germany or
There are no small German children.
they are
I was
all
never-
titans of industry.
I was never breastfed as a child. And I was told that it's because my mother's breast milk was poisonous. Which I don't think holds up. So I wonder why that cunt didn't breastfeed me. I'm serious. I don't know. And she's dead, so I can't ask her.
I don't know where to go with this. You started asking me questions about me having my teeth ripped out, and now we're talking about breastfeeding. I mean, we can link these 2 points back together
So
due to the fact
how
that I'll be on a
badly do
liquid
you think
diet
it would
for a
hurt
few days.
if you were to breastfeed with your missing teeth?
Yeah, you see, I'm just going to be suckling from the sweet teat of soup and protein shake.
When you
So
have
I'll
teeth
be-
removed, you can't suck.
This means I'll be awesome the whole time.
You
Right,
already
I
are,
know.
my friend.
What do prostitutes do if after a tooth? Do they like
Take the
get
week off.
up- But I
No,
would feel
they're
the
on
same.
bed rest. Thank you.
You'll be here all week.
As opposed to lounge rest.
I have to say, and this is not to get uncanceled, but I do feel very positively towards sex workers and their empowerment. So good on them. But yes, bed rests. Oh my god!
It was
But
It was a good comeback.
I love what Jimmy Carr has to say about comebacks, but that would get me canceled quicker than a Catholic priest. But I digress. But
Next,
back to
next,
Unfortunately,
next week,
it seems
next
like
week you're
it
wearing
takes
a
quite a
collar.
while for a Catholic priest to get canceled.
I know.
All I'm
About
saying is
4,000 years overdue.
there are more layers of Vatican bureaucracy than a priest's smock, I would think. I wonder what percentage of priests go commando under their smocks, actually. I feel like
Ask
it's
an
something
altar
I
boy.
would do. Oof! So we're banned in Vatican City already.
That's all right. There
population
aren't
of
many
3
places
is,
on the
yeah.
planet that I can say I honestly
However,
not
if you
only
are
have never
listening
intended to go,
us,
but have fully intended to never go. And Vatican City is top of that list.
if
But
you,
we're
if you
missing
are
out on-
listening to us currently and you're wandering through Vatican City, drop us a comment. We'd love to
Please.
know.
Because we're really looking A, for the Vatican City tourist demographic, and B, most importantly, the Swiss guards, who are the military of Vatican City, in case you didn't know.
We'd also just appreciate the engagement. So even if you're not wandering through Vatican City, leave us a comment telling us where you're wandering through listening to this.
Or even what you're wondering through, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't care where you are. If you're listening to us, drop us a comment.
But if you're from Vatican City, tell us.
If you're from Vatican City and can prove it, we'll send you the prototype of our t-shirt.
Even better, if you're from Vatican City and you are not Catholic,
Oh,
I you know what? I want to invite you on Off the Cuff.
God damn. Yeah.
Like straight up. That
Little
would
baby
be
Jesus.
an excellent
Wow.
fucking discussion.
Well, I've been to Vatican City.
As have I.
I went to
I
go
have
look
not.
at the artwork and got separated from my tourist group. It was the most
I went-
terrifying days of my life.
I went looking to hook up with a priest. But yeah.
They said you were
guess I-
too old, right?
Yeah, I was 13 at that point, and I was pretty tall. They weren't into me anymore. It's just like,
Yeah. Even on your knees, you were still taller than they were. And there's something in their minds just said, this is not quite right.
Now you can see the kind of like the beginning of the beard growing in, like the little awkward blonde mustache.
I'm just suddenly envisioning Sacha Baron Cohen bursting in, going, "No, he's too young for you."
Yeah, you're about to hook up with a priest, like fully consensual adults, and Sacha Baron Cohen just bursts in.
That's a reference to the what is it, Coming to America or whatever that film was, where he stung Rudy Giuliani with the whole underage child or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, that was so funny. He was pretending that the chick was underage, right, Rick? In the bed in the hotel.
Yeah, except he burst in going, "No, she's too old for you."
When it comes to Sacha Baron Cohen, I don't know.
Oh my!
Do you not enjoy Sacha Baron Cohen?
I do not.
Tell us.
Is
why.
it because he looks like me?
No, that would actually be points towards him. But there's a certain brand of humorous stupidity that I can enjoy. And then there is just way too far on the stupid part. And that's Sasha, that's Jackass, that's Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah, no, I'm not into any of it.
I was with you to an extent up until you said Trailer Park Boys. And then I was like, rip Mr. Leahy, R.I.P.
I don't know any of these things, so all I'm hearing is words that I
I
understand
don't know how Rick
individually.
can be Canadian and not like Trailer Park Boys. My God.
It's because he was much more interested in the place you go after the trailer park. He was more interested in the Morgue Park Boys.
I think it was because he had a negative experience with a priest in a trailer park, really. Can you confirm or deny?
I don't think you could ever have a negative experience with a priest in a trailer park.
I've never had any experience with a priest in a trailer park, but I've definitely had negative experience with trailer parks.
Please expound.
Plural. In fact, every experience I've ever had with a trailer park has been negative.
Okay, so since we now know your traumatic place, Kevin, what's your traumatic place?
Oh, my traumatic place is actually Earth. I mean, it's a little bit reductive.
Well, of Earth, you've described trailer parks as a site of potential past trauma.
My therapist would probably say my mother's womb is my traumatic place.
Yes,
And
but
then,
this is not a place that can be distilled to a location that the everyday person can relate to.
my childhood home.
I don't know. I think the everyday person can relate to his mother's womb.
Yeah. Oh man, you know, people are still digging and trying to reconstruct it. They're called Catholics. Oh man, in the good old days, before. Well, actually, no. In America, the good old days are over.
Well,
After Roe v. Wade was overturned. But yeah, I'm in the weeds here.
for me, my traumatic place would be the high school welding shop. I burnt my hands so many times in that place. Because you weld something, you quench it, you put it in the sand, then you're like, yeah, it should be cold by now. And then you pick it up and you realize, no, it's not cold.
Did you?
He's sitting here talking about burning his hands as I'm literally picking the scab off of a burn on my hand.
And then you drop the thing because that's a reflex when you're holding the scaldingly hot thing.
Oh my god!
And then you drop the thing that you just allegedly welded together. Two pieces of metal. And then through the act of dropping it, you realize you didn't actually weld the thing together. So there's not only the demoralizing pain of your incompetence of thinking it's safe to touch the warm metal, and by warm I mean searingly hot. Then you drop it and it fractures and you go, well, I've achieved nothing here other than injuring myself.
Does that mean
that's my traumatic place?
A shitty weld?
Yes, an ineffective weld is a shitty weld.
Yeah.
And I'd say an ineffective weld is something that you drop it and it comes apart.
My traumatic place in that respect then would be my high school girlfriend's parents' dining room. Because
Because you pulled her out of the sand and dropped her and she broke in half?
No. but they were.
Or is it just because she was flat out too hot for you to handle?
Oh man, she was way too hot for me. I was a fucking nerdy guy with fucking. Actually, I wasn't that nerdy, unfortunately.
You were a nerdy guy with glasses and a welding torch. Nothing could stop you.
And a hockey stick and a baseball bat and a lacrosse baton.
So did you have this Swiss Army knife of sporting goods where it's just let me get out my lacrosse stick?
I feel like
wait, it's time for hockey. Then you press a button on your Swiss Army knife.
They have those 3-in-1 foosball tables, pool tables.
Table? Yeah,
they should
you've got that, but for a lacrosse or hockey stick, and then it can also turn into a golf club and a baseball bat. Maybe even a cricket bat.
Instead of getting into contact with Manscaped, we should get into contact with someone who manufactures that as our sponsor.
I mean,
maybe we should just ditch the whole podcast idea and go into manufacturing, and I can be the welder, and we'll make a roaring trade. Because when you drop it, the little bit on the end of the hockey stick falls off, and then you've got a baseball bat.
What is the
and then when you hit the ball with it, you've then got a golf club as chunks of metal fly off the baseball bat. And then I can't think of how you'd further reduce a golf club into any other sporting good. Perhaps an arrow. Then we could add archery to the
or a fencing épée.
I think that would be after your shaft of the arrow flew.
But my question for you is: have you ever seen a hockey stick in real life?
Yes.
You've touched one?
Believe it or not, we had indoor hockey at school.
And
I believe you didn't have outdoor hockey.
Yeah, no, we certainly didn't have outdoor hockey.
Is there an Australian hockey league?
Probably.
Do they report?
Does he care?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fairly sure they've competed in the Olympics at least once in hockey. Both men and women.
The women have. or it could have been the Kiwis. I'm not sure. It was one of the two. Speaking of the Kiwis, they're playing Norway right now in the Women's World Cup as we speak. It's probably a barn burner.
I don't care. Sports with round balls are sports that I don't care about.
You don't like any round balls?
No round ball sports engage me.
Basketball?
Nope.
Tennis?
Nope.
Is there a ball in a Formula One car at all? There are ball bearings in Formula One cars.
Yes, but ball bearings are not round.
Well,
I mean,
there's
yes,
a part
they are.
in the part.
They're not spherical. Let me clarify. Parts
Well-
of the ball bearing are spherical.
No, the ball bearings themselves are like the BBs. That's
Yeah.
you
The
put a
BB's
into a
inside
BB
the
gun.
race. Yeah.
You know, modern civilization would collapse the ball bearings. Like, if someone was to like do terrorist attacks on all the major ball bearing producers, we'd be pretty fucked.
I
Not
think
really.
you could say that for a lot of things in the modern supply chain, that you just remove a single thing and then society collapses.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know which one would probably be the most likely for that to happen?
I presume you're not going to say semiconductors, even though the answer is
No.
semiconductor.
Oil.
Wow, I am so focused on like my professional lens is so narrow that I immediately go to semiconductors when oil, the most obvious answer, is just a black puddle of doom. God.
or you could have the argument that fertilizer would also see the collapse of modern
Yeah,
society.
but that argument's shitty.
Well, quite literally.
I made quite a bit of money off fertilizer when the Russian invasion of Ukraine started.
If you can grow crops with fertilizer, you also don't need money because then you've got food.
Fair point. If you shit in your own field, is that considered fertilizing?
No, unless you're vegan.
Oh, if you want to hear about things being cancelled, I read a story at some point in the past half decade. I can't remember exactly when.
That's very precise.
Yeah. And it was a story of, since we're going to consider veganism as the enemy for some reason, there was a woman who was a vegan who believed in a no-waste lifestyle. So she fertilized her houseplants with her own uterine blood, as in the blood of her womb, the blood of her period. She literally used her own blood and bone, so to speak, to fertilize her houseplants. And I just thought, yes, that's a zero waste lifestyle, but I'm fairly sure that would not have a very lovely stench.
Yeah.
I want to smell the
let's go with no
flowers,
on that
but I don't
one.
want to smell the fish.
But no, I was actually being literal about that, because the biggest problem with human fecal matter as a fertilizer is the same reason why you wouldn't want to use your dog or cat shit, because we eat too much meat. Meat does not make for good fertilizer once it is processed through the digestive tract. So for a vegan, maybe theirs would actually be better because there's not going to be that content.
When I was in graduate school, I dated this like super hippie chick who lived in an intentional community. And they had they recycled all, if you had to pee, you peed in like a bucket. And if you had to take a shit, it looked like a regular toilet, but it dripped into like this box that you then put sawdust on top of. And they actually did human manure. I don't remember how it worked though, because you're right. I know a lot of the people in the house were vegan, but like obviously there were non-vegan guests who would have to take shits at their house. So like, would one non-vegan shit pollute the whole pile of human manure?
I don't think it's going to.
I just love the whole thing of like, would you pollute manure with manure?
I mean, but
I don't think it's going to like contaminate it and make it not like viable or anything like that. At like as a batch, it's just going to, in and of itself, not be worth as much.
Because
but, it would still technically work, I think, just not as well. Like
it would just be akin to microplastics in your tasty salmon.
Yummy.
Well, I mean, there are. It doesn't matter what you're eating, where it's anything. You're eating fucking microplastics. You grow that shit in your own garden. You harvest it yourself. You eat it raw. You're eating microplastics.
Pretty much, even if you kill the animal.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's like it's kind of crazy how like we're still allowing like fucking like even now we have new products like Downy scent boosters. I guess Downy's never going to sponsor us. Where basically these are little plastic beads you put in the wash, microplastic beads that release some kind of scent or some shit like that. But all this plastic is going into the fucking water supply. How do we stop this? Actually, I'm dead serious.
That's why we need to get off this planet, because it's too late. We've already killed this one.
But speaking of getting off this planet, then back to Holozor's surgery. I'll
be getting off this planet one way or another.
So have they told you what you will be anesthetized with?
No, I've got no idea what compound will be used.
Did you lie on your height and weight requirements so that it's an accidental euthanasia?
No.
You're truthful?
They haven't actually asked me for those, so I anticipate there will be a measuring stick and a scale for me to step on come Monday morning.
Maybe too many people try to commit suicide by like falsely reporting, or they lie about their weight.
Honestly, I hadn't even really thought about it from that angle. I was thinking more along the lines of lie about height and weight to make sure that shit fucking takes, because I mean, I've never been under general anesthesia, but every kind of local anesthesia, they're like, yeah, you should be good now. And I'm like, no! I'm fucking naturally immune to anthrax. I have a high tolerance for everything. Whatever you think you need to give me, triple it. And let's start there and plan to do more. Like,
that is literally the definition for them of drug-seeking behavior.
Well, I presume they do some sort of test to confirm that you are no longer conscious and no longer able to experience pain.
Oh, well, yes, but then there's also the question of how long it lasts.
Yeah,
and there's also the question of, and I don't even know if we should talk about this, Stephen. I really don't know if we should talk about this. I don't
say the words.
Okay, so are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, there is this thing that happens and is widely reported and is associated with, I forget the name of the thing. It's associated with severe negative, with PTSD, in fact, where you will be unconscious in the sense that you will not appear conscious.
Unresponsive, but you are aware.
Like locked-in syndrome or something like that during surgery when anesthesia kind of partially takes. So you actually experience and, in a way, feel the entire thing because you're not truly asleep, if that makes sense. And I'm fucking terrified of it. I mean, aside from like just my general like.
Well, I presume I'll be bolted down and unable to struggle.
And this will be a brief surgery, right? Did they tell you how long?
No. But the thing about a general anesthesia is that you have no perception of time.
Right. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. For him, it's going to be over like that.
Will it?
One way or another.
Well, I mean, Steve, can you tell us about what you said when you went to see the anesthesiologist? Because every time you say it,
no, this was to see the surgeon. I just said, will the man with the blow dart put me to sleep? And he looked at me funny. But then when I rang the anesthesiologist's office and said, hey, I need someone to come put me to sleep for this thing, I reckon he'll need 2 blow darts because I'm a large man. And the receptionist laughed.
I have this image in my mind right now of you on like, well, it looks more like a morgue slab, to be honest. It's an operating room table, but in my mind,
I think it's going to be more like a regular dental chair.
probably.
I was
But
thinking it's going to be more like an altar.
With candles. When they
imagine
were
if-
asking about, potential allergies, I'm like, is there going to be a hive of bees in the operating theater? Because that could be a risk, not only to me, but to those operating on me.
it's like I'm in my mid-30s, but I never bothered checking out if I was actually allergic to bees. I'm just presuming I might be, kind
Correct.
of thing, right?
Yeah, I've never murdered a bee, so I haven't needed to find out.
I actually have relatively severe allergies, and I was experiencing this like seasonal, and I was experiencing this thing where when I ate certain types of shellfish, I got
I'm
like,
also allergic to Christmas.
Well played, sir. Well played. God damn it.
Halloween's the one seasonal thing that I don't have an allergy to.
oh man, I was so drunk giving out candy on Halloween.
Anyway, you have some sort of severe seasonal allergies?
Oh yeah, and I asked the allergologist, I believe that's what they're called.
All day allegory?
Yeah, the allegorical allergologist.
No. You've got a choice between two boxes. You've got your allergy pills and your allegory pills, and you have to choose one. It's not like the red pill or the blue pill. It's the allegory or the allergy.
I presume that I do not want to take the red pill, which is what those crazy incels take, right?
I just want to see you take the all day allegory, so you're speaking in allegories all day.
I do have blue
while
pills.
Suffering from allergies.
I have blue pills in the drawer right here. They're for heartburn. I don't have any red pills.
Heartburn.
Yeah.
He's got the little diamond blue pills.
I do not, but I would. I mean, honestly, if you chop an eighth off of one of those at the lowest dose and mix it with some other fun substances, you're gonna have a good time. I'm not joking. Those things are not to fuck around with.
I just hope that it's warm.
Are
so
they
that
to
I
fuck
have
a square with?
They create some of the whatever factory those are made in creates some of the most solid hardwood I've ever encountered is what I'll say.
But did you try angles?
No,
I'm just thinking about vascularity.
The allegory of vascularity.
Well, it's an important part of surgery. They'll need to find a vein to tap into to administer the sleepy stuff.
You're pretty fucking pale.
Yeah, I am.
That would logically make your veins easier to find, I would think, huh?
Easier to find, but not necessarily easy to skewer.
Good point. I mean, I've never given an injection to a vein. I've given intramuscular injections. Yeah, good question. Rick, have you ever given an intravenous injection?
I have never given an injection, period.
You never given your cat an injection or something like that?
Oh, no. Okay. I guess, yeah. Talking about like cats and dogs and whatnot, but not even muscular. I've really just like you pick up the skin at the scruff of the neck and you go in there.
Oh, I've done both. Yeah. You have the transdermal, which is when you pick up the skin and
yeah, I've done that one. I've never done a muscular or intravenous.
They don't like the muscular ones. I can tell you.
Yeah, that doesn't fucking surprise me.
It's like
as a human, I don't like those ones.
Oh my god, it's like I was once at basically every time when I was getting the COVID shots, I was basically like getting nauseous and almost passing out. Apparently, I have something called vasovagal syndrome, and it was told to me that like the nurse or whatever she was goes to me. It's always the ones that look like you who
Yeah.
use the stretcher.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
what do you
The
mean
bigger
look
you
like?
are, the harder you fall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I have no pretenses that I'm a tough man whatsoever. So it's just like it was kind of strange to hear. But I mean, maybe there's something about us and for the viewing or discerning audiophile audience, we're all quite tall beyond possessing these whiskers.
I can touch the ceiling of my home.
Yeah. Is that because you live in a fucking hobbit hole, or
No, the ceilings are 2.4 meters.
2.4 meters in American is like 7 feet or 8 feet?
8.
8. Yeah. Rick, can you touch your ceiling?
Yeah.
So can I. But my
Not in the
basement,
living room because we do have vaulted ceilings there, but
that sounds pretty lovely. Why do you have vaulted ceilings in your living room?
Ceremony.
well, I mean the main kind of living area of the house.
Ceremony.
So back to this
Ritual.
altar of sacrifice for surgery. What if in all Catholic hospitals, all operations were performed on an altar because, like, that's how they produce the blood of Christ?
No, that's because that's how they produce success. They don't trust in their medical textbooks and the history of surgical intervention.
You're skipping over the fact that there would be no surgery in Catholic hospitals.
Although when my wife had surgery earlier this year, it was in a Catholic hospital. There was
Was it really?
There was a cross, not a crucifix. The distinction being there was not a Jesus nailed to this one.
Then it wasn't a Catholic hospital.
Well, in any case, it was some sort of hospital that was religious, and there was a cross. And I inverted that cross in her room, and it took the nurses 3 days to notice.
How long was she in for?
3 days.
Oh,
that was what she said. All right, well, you were supposed to be here for another week, but get the fuck out, you heretic!
I mean, I can't pretend her well enough to know, but did she find this hilarious, or was it stressing her out that, like, Steve, we're gonna get caught. They're gonna like kick me out. Like which one? Or did she not even notice herself?
She saw it and she's like, that thing should be upside down. So I did that.
That is amazing. You're an amazing husband.
It was only anchored to the wall with a single screw, so I just rotated it.
I swear, there's no way Meredith would do that for me. She would not turn a cross upside down in a hospital room for me. She'd be like too worried we'd get caught. I'm just saying.
I'm just disappointed that they weren't. I'm just disappointed, they didn't pay attention to the whole no religion on the admission form and, remove it from the room as a mark of respect.
Yeah, you'd think that when us deviants come in, they just have these pentagrams ready to replace the cross.
It doesn't even need to be a pentagram. It just needs to be a fucking room.
Right.
And then they, in hospitals they have those.
But that operating theater better well fucking have a salt circle on the floor. I don't want any moisture getting into that operating theater.
I wonder
how else are you going to absorb all that blood? You need desiccant. Salt is a great desiccant.
It really is. I wonder if you can literally make a request, since salt is sterile, to have a salt circle around your surgical table.
It would be all fun and games until one of the surgical members slipped on it because they were wearing non-slip shoes.
Or they were really fucking pissed at you for requesting it and they started throwing literal salt in your wounds.
Well, that's actually what I'll be doing as a post-operative follow-up, is doing saltwater rinses.
I fucking hope you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not letting this get infected.
The question is, well, you will be prescribed prophylactic antibiotics, right?
I have no idea. I will find out.
You're not taking antibiotics before the surgery?
No, I was not given any.
That's atypical, in my experience.
I just assumed they'd get a cauterizer out and just scorch the innards of my mouth before proceeding with the procedure.
That.
I don't think that's how cauterization works either. It would be
after.
No, they actually go get the welding tools from your old high school.
Yeah, from my high school. Now you will learn to use these.
Don't drop your teeth because they're no better than you were.
If you did not get an A+ in welding, that's what they do to cauterize your wounds. They go get
they rouse you from the anesthesia just enough to hand you the welding torch, and they're like, "All right, just pretend it's a toothbrush."
And if you did get if you got an A, they wake you up, and if you can do it for yourself, the surgery's free.
No. Come on. This is the medical system we're talking about. If you can do it yourself, you get charged 4 times as much.
Yes, because you've got to pay for all the liability insurances. But the only thing I'm concerned about is the recovery, and that that initial numbness wearing off. And I'm told that the third day will be the worst day. But that's okay. That's the day that Christ managed to find his way out of his cave, allegedly. So for me, that will be the Wednesday, perhaps the Thursday. So it's fine. The one thing that I'll have to defend myself is my handwriting, but my handwriting is horribly messy.
As is mine, Rick.
But I've got one of those. I've got one of those little like magnetic whiteboards that's about the size of a piece of paper that I can write my demands on. And
have you prepared extensively for this surgery?
No.
It sounds like you have, though.
I absolutely haven't.
Rick,
Rick's holding back laughter or vomit for some reason.
No, I'm not holding back. I'm chuckling.
Rick, what's up? You look like you'd have good handwriting, neat handwriting.
You're damn right, I do. I'm a writer.
The one thing I'm concerned about is that one of the side effects of anesthesia can be vomiting when you come to, because it would be horrific to
oh my God.
have mouth surgery and then follow that up with, excellent, I've had mouth surgery, and then vomit.
Don't you have to fast for 40 days before getting operated on?
Not 40 days. We're not going through the desert.
Like
it's not
40
biblical.
hours, bro. I've actually done a 40-day fast.
They told me 6.
Wait. Rick has
they
done
rang
a 40
me today
day
to
fast?
say 6.
Yes.
Wait, and you only have to fast for 6 hours?
No,
yeah.
6 days, he said.
No, 6 hours, they told me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you just wake up and you're fucking good.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to fast longer than that for a fucking blood draw.
Well, the essence of this is that it is non-invasive.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Beyond the gum line.
But Rick, 40-day fast, please do expound.
I was religious for a little while.
Yeah, we know that.
Are cults.
But how did this...
He's talking about the time before Christ. He was actually featured in the King James Bible.
No.
It's not actually Rick, it's Methuselah, and he's about to rip the mask from his face.
He's Christ resurrected. What are you talking about? Look at that hair. Like, his shirt says that he's got our back. He is the modern Jesus.
I'd like for somebody to hold my spine outside of my body and say that to me.
Right?
I'd be impressed.
Then he could put it right back in. And everything would work just fine.
Back in?
Just ask Lazarus.
I have to make some NFTs of dogs as the apostles and like send different dogs to different people. In like, I guess I have to make Judas. I think I'm gonna keep Judas because he's probably the coolest apostle.
Do you know who the doubting Thomas has to be?
Who?
A Chihuahua.
What an absolute cunt. Chihuahuas like are responsible for a disproportionately large number of dog bites, you know?
Of course they are. They're fucking Chihuahuas.
No, but like people stigmatize pit bulls and Rottweilers and German Shepherd dogs.
Now here's really... the thing. Here's the reason.
In Australia, that's not what gets. It's like Staffordshire Terriers is what gets stigmatized in Australia. Staffies.
Yeah, American
Staffordshire. The reason why pit bulls, dobies, and Rotties get the worst rap is not because they're more likely to bite or because they bite more often. It's because when they do, it's bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
a Chihuahua bites you, you just fucking punt it through the uprights, score 3 points for your team, and you're fucking good to go. Now, a fucking Roddy bites you, you're losing a limb.
When I lived in Montreal, there was a Rottweiler in the East End that ate a baby. And it was kind of like big news.
Did it need to get its stomach pumped because it consumed too many calories that day?
I do remember there was this actual like debate as to whether the animal should be euthanized or not, because like something about the owners, there was this opposition to the animal being euthanized, and I was like, well, I can see it both ways, but like, is the baby's skull intact? I was just wondering how it would shit it out, because like a baby's skull is pretty big, isn't it?
It's the same size as a normal skull.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, they definitely grow, but also a baby's skull is soft. That's why mama can push it out.
When does a baby's skull get unsoft?
When it takes those blue pills.
About 9 to 15 months.
So we're feeding Viagra to babies to make them hard so that we can punt them through the uprights for 3 points?
No, that's the Chihuahua.
So
where are you getting confused?
I know you're Canadian, right? But not all of us want to kick the baby Ike.
You know, in Canadian football, you can do a drop kick at any time, like in rugby.
Yeah.
You can do that in rugby. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can't do this in American football. And it's only worth 1 point instead of 3 points, like a field goal. So what would that be? What would you be putting through the uprights for 1 point in this metaphor?
A field goal. Whenever I watch rugby, I'm always perplexed as to why people don't attempt field goals more often. You're on the last tackle. You're on the 5th tackle.
Yeah.
You're 20 meters out. The opposing team's going to take possession. Just kick a field goal. Get a point.
I was watching your Australian rugby that night that we were speaking, and then you went to watch the rugby. And this was like, it was really fun to watch. Is it the RFL or RLF?
NRL.
NRL, something like that. But what was the name of the thing again? Because it was basically like ethnic
State
national
of origin.
State of origin. So people from one part of Australia versus people
It's
from another
like
part.
Texas versus Florida.
Yeah, but it's also
Or
like
Canadian state I don't know the name of versus Canadian state I also don't know the name of.
Did you just say we have
There are no
states in-
Canadian states. They're called provinces.
Provinces. Oh,
Get your
no.
shit together.
It would be
Territory.
province. It would be province of origin.
Yes.
It would be, and it would be an apology.
Break that
contest.
acronym down for us, Steve.
province. Do it. What is it?
Province of origin? Poo.
So it'd be the poo tournament.
Sounds like a shitty game.
But it would also be a gathering of apologists, and the objective would be to be the most sorry because they're all Canadian, and it's the one thing they'd have in common.
It would be a pretty sorry affair.
But imagine having province of origin ice hockey games where you had collected all the greatest players from a province and put them on a team, even though in the grand course of their regular league play, they'd be on opposing teams. But you force these opposing team players to play against each other. And by virtue of this, they may be playing against their regular teammates.
No, that happens. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Well, I didn't see it.
Where was Gretzky's point of origin again?
I'm pretty sure it was.
His mother's
I'm
womb.
I
pretty
know
sure
he
it was
started playing on the Oilers, but I don't think he was from Edmonton, right?
I think it was from Ontario.
That's what I'm thinking too. So that would just straight up come down to Ontario versus Quebec, and nothing else matters.
And
because we
what
have the
would
greatest
happen-
goal scorer of all time and the greatest goalie of all time, and there is nobody else on the ice.
I mean, there are some pretty big farm boys from Alberta who have played and come through. And like the thing here is like without those Albertan farm boys, your risk is if they get in the tournament, I mean, they could like basically just crush the 5'4" Quebecers because Quebec players are notoriously small. So like the Albertans could cause an upset just by crushing skulls in this scenario.
Here's the thing though. They could literally mash all of the linemen and the defensemen into the ground to the point where they're skating over them without even breaking stride, and it's still not going to matter because they're not getting past the wall.
Yeah,
And-
I think
let's
I shot a
let's
puck
ignore the
against the wall.
fact that this is before they've even gotten onto the rink. Is that what they call it?
That is what they call it. But again, like it doesn't matter what they do to all of the Quebecois players except for one.
Yeah, and I got to shoot a puck against this Quebecois player as a child, having grown up in Montreal when he still played for the Canadiens, the legendary number 33, Patrick Roy. And I was so shy. I like shot from the right. No, it would have been his left face-off circle. I still feel stupid. I want to kick like 6-year-old me or punch 6-year-old me in the face for not having tried to deke him. But hey, no takesy backsies in the poo tournament. It's a real shit show.
Your province of origin was despair.
My poo is despair.
No, your province of origin was Splinterland's land.
When's that coming, by the way?
The 31st of never.
It's impossible to know.
We've had this discussion before, but god damn it, how many people have died waiting for Splinterland's land? I have to wonder.
It could be me in a few days.
Right? So most important thing, she knows how to get into your accounts, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got all of your Splinterland's assets willed out.
Can we like buy your track at a discount?
This is not a fire sale. He's still warm, boys. He's still warm.
he's still
So I suggest that everybody comes back next week to investigate whether or not I am actually still warm or not.
Right, because there's a chance it could be a 2-person podcast.
There's a chance. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be Kevin and Steve.
Episode 2 would be the memorial episode.
It would be extraordinarily tragic. And you guys could listen to the 5 songs that should be played at my funeral, which I've preemptively published several weeks ago.
Oh my god!
It was 6 though.
I don't remember if it was 6.
Because you told me to do 6, and I've only been able to.
Because you're an overachiever. 5. It was probably 6. I can't remember. I'll be dead. I won't care.
Cannot fucking decide on song number 5.
What are you choosing between?
Like, I don't actually have very many good ideas. Like, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. They're perfect. No ideas for 5.
How many of them are metal?
Now you're gonna make me pull up this fucking post or not the post, but the article. All right, 6 songs to play at my funeral. Comfortably Numb.
Good one.
Truckin'.
Okay.
Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. No More Tears. Blank. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish.
You should put number 5 as like a segue. It should be Yum Yum Bumblebee Bumblebee Tuna. I love Bumblebee Bumblebee Tuna. Do you know that one?
Nah, it'd be some sort of sponsor spot for Manscaped.
Oh, I'm gonna get in touch with them. That's what's gonna make us rich, is selling pubic grooming products. I mean, we all still have our hair, so we can't sell keeps, or can we? Can we pretend?
That's how I got my hair. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, I'm fairly certain that we could. Like,
us still having our hair in our mid to late 30s, all of us, is statistically unlikely.
I mean, I've got no hair on my forehead, so, we could always experiment with that.
I mean, I got my bikini wax today, so I have no hair in my asshole, but
I've also got, like, no hair on my palms, so, we could see how that goes.
Somebody lied.
I've been going bald for years on my palms.
The insides of my arms are relatively hairless. I mean, I guess Keeps didn't work on that part of me. And my asshole. But more generally, though, I mean, yeah, no, I still got some hair up here. My grandfather died with a full head of hair, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, but he was only 21, so you know.
And he was also being punted through an upright at a
Yeah.
He
stadium.
was 21, dying of dementia. And since we legalized euthanasia in Canada,
And got to choose the own method of one's
you have to
euthanasia.
choose your own method. And we decided,
In fact, I think that might be like, you know, if the anesthesiologist says any last words, if you don't make it through the surgery, yes, punt my head through an upright.
don't get laces out. Do not forget laces out. Not
Laces
in.
out, Dan.
That's a good fucking movie, though.
Yeah.
But you know, I've kicked field goals, and it actually makes a difference if the laces are in or out.
Oh yeah, of course it does. Kick a smooth surface versus kick a bumpy surface. Which one do you think is going to transfer the power more efficiently?
Wouldn't a good kicker be good enough to hit the ball with their foot at the right place?
It's still going to affect the aerodynamics of how the ball travels through the air.
Yeah, this is correct.
If you hit the ball under the laces, though, would it really?
You're not going to hit the ball under the laces, though. When you're
going to hit it with
the whole top of your foot meets the whole side of the ball. You don't
Maybe that's
kick
why
with
I'm
your fucking toes.
I do.
Well, you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, wait,
you don't kick a soccer ball with your fucking toes, except for when you're dribbling. When you fucking shoot a soccer ball, you
with the side of your foot,
or side or the top, but a flat part of the foot, not a fucking toe.
But you kick a field goal with your toes.
No.
You
don't kick a person with your toes either.
You don't kick or okay. Sorry, this needs to be said. You do not kick or punch people at all unless you have combat boots on. You elbow people because you don't want to break your own hands.
That's why you punch properly.
You can punch,
and that's why you kick properly, which is why you don't kick with your toes, just like you don't punch like this.
No, you punch like this.
You know what?
No, that's only if you're Neo.
But wait, are you seriously saying that you think it's more rational in a fight to punch than to elbow?
100%. Because you are never going to get within range to where I have to use my elbows.
Say that again?
I would much rather be at this range from you than this range from you.
Opposite for me.
Then if he was at that range, I could just tickle his under armpit.
And then, like you're going to be knocked out before you get close enough for me to elbow you.
That's presumptuous.
No, that's skill.
Well, you see, what you'd ideally want to do is, firstly, avoid the fight altogether if possible.
Exactly.
How do you do that?
Secondly, if forced to, is one of my favorite lines in one of my favorite shows is never start a fight, but always finish one.
Exactly.
With killing. Right?
I didn't say that.
Why not? Isn't like
I intend if I'm going to hit somebody at all, I am going to find out what songs they want played at their funeral.
Well, I mean, you can't start a real fight with someone unless you're willing to kill them. Like, I feel. Because there is a real risk that you'll kill someone.
The last fight that I was in involved somebody's head that was not mine being bounced off of the tailgate of a Humvee.
Nice.
Repeatedly.
The last fight that I was involved in for real involved my father going through a window.
Did you know that there's a word for that?
Patricide?
No, the act of throwing someone through a window. There's a word.
I know. Defenestration.
That's the word.
As someone who speaks French, because the word for window is fenêtre.
Yeah, you should have fucking known that, dick.
No, because I'm too highbrow for you low class motherfuckers.
Motherfucker, you're not too high for anything.
No,
You're in
ain't
a
high at all
basement.
right now. I'm
Exactly. You're not high enough.
But I think that's where we should probably leave this pilot.
Yes.
He's flown off to some fucking place without us. We've missed the plane entirely today. But we know that Kevin and Rick will certainly be back next week. My appearance will be up to the gods old new and the anesthesia and all of those things.
Who knows? Maybe we're
but
filming another episode right after, and
maybe I'll just have a swollen mouth or a hood over my head to
there'll be
conceal the
there's no
swelling.
surgery. This is just a false predicate.
It's just a rouse to grow sympathy.
Exactly.
And we get to see how good my acting classes have been.
Exactly. But yes.
But we've been Whiskr Whispers. We'll be Whiskr. Yeah,
We'll
because
be-
it's funny because I'm Steve, he's Kevin, and he's Rick.
And
we
there's
all
no
have
E.
whiskers.
If you look at your T-shirt.
Yeah, and
there's
that's
no
why
E.
the SKR are supposed to be capitalized, fool.
Well, shit, you didn't tell me that wasn't
Can
in the
be
fucking
changed.
memo.
I did. I typed it in the fucking chat and said I typed it in the fucking chat.
Yeah, I thought you typed other shit in the fucking chat. I was just
Okay,
like, what
so for the next one, it's bearded man who can't spell, bearded man who can't read, and just bearded man.
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Exactly.
But I believe it's Kevin's responsibility to take us off the air. So
Yes.
thank you all for coming.
Yes. And have a great day. And hopefully we'll see you all next week.
If not, we'll just have a casket as the stand-in and knocking sounds coming from within it. Please help, let me out. I'm still alive.
All right.
No, shut up and get back in the box.
And on
And
that
that's
note,
what she said.
Actually,
you,
there's the YouTube thumbnail. All of us doing this.
Right?
on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's a great shot.
I'm a statue.